What's up, everybody? You're back in here with the Pro Football Pod. You've got Hulk, you've got Coach Austin up there in that corner. We appreciate you guys for checking in with us. Hit that subscribe button down below. Every 500 subscriber benchmark, we're giving away a free jersey to one of you lucky viewers. Go ahead and smash that for us. Fellas, Combine's over. We're getting closer to free agency. We're 50 days away from the draft as we stand right now on this recording. It's holiday season. I love this time of year, and I'm ready to do another mock draft. What do you say?
Mason Taylor flew up my boards after the combine. That's what I have to say. Wow.
Mason Taylor.
I was looking at all these guys, and Harold Fanning still look great. Like, there's other guys that I'm still really high on, and I realized that, like, I think Colston Loveland didn't do it, and then neither did
Tyler Warren didn't.
Tyler Warren. But dude, Mason Taylor looks so smooth. He didn't drop a ball the whole time. Everything I saw of him was just like absolute perfection. I know that he's not super fast, but you don't need to be as a tight end. I was very, very excited with him. I can't wait to draft him in fantasy.
Speaking of speed, how about that boy Bashal Tootin? That boy was getting it.
The running back.
You're the running back for Virginia Tech.
And they had him running up against Jahmyr Gibbs and Saquon. And I think it's just because they're similar builds. Mm-hmm. And dude was like a couple of like strides ahead of both of them. It's pretty impressive. He looked good
solid
too.
Size.
Just like really good movement all around.
Do y'all know what the deal is with Jackson Dart and is it his father who like screwed his girlfriend or something like that? Y'all seen any story about that? No? Okay.
That wasn't Jackson Dart. That was another Ole Miss player, but I don't think there's any like truth to it. And you might not want to talk about that because they're trying to sue the people that started that rumor out there. So yeah, you might want to X that out there.
Take that back. Well,
no, I'm excited to get into this mock draft because with all the trades that are taking place, with the Bears solidifying their O-line a little more, Debo going out to the Commanders, like
that's huge.
That's going to affect this mock draft here a little bit. Tyler Lockett getting released, DK
asking for a trade and potentially getting traded. I saw the Chargers are potential for him. That they're already like reaching out and being like, all right, are you guys interested in moving him?
Landing spot.
Huge for JSN, which I'm a big fan of because I have him on my dynasty team. But yeah,
they don't really, that's all they really have though.
After him, right? Dynasty, you're absolutely loving your life. All right, guys, let's go ahead and dive into it. Austin, you're going to start us off with the first pick here. Subscribe down below. Do it for us. Do it for your friends, your family. Austin,
we appreciate it.
Kick us off, buddy.
All right. For the NFL draft, we're going to have the Tennessee Titans selecting Travis Hunter, one of the best prospects we've seen in some time, two-way player. You know, the Tennessee Titans need a team or a player that can get it done both ways. You know, they need an exciting player like this, and he's got the talent. Nobody's going to be surprised if he goes number 1 overall. So, yeah, we'll just go Travis Hunter.
Argue it. I mean, they've talked about a generational talent. We still don't know what these teams are looking for in the free agent market when it comes to quarterbacks. I doubt they're going to roll the dice to give Will Levis another year and just go through another season with that, like, as their only hope. But, I mean, to me, like, it's hard to argue Travis Hunter at number 1.
I mean, if you really want to draft a furry with the number 1 overall pick, like, whatever. You know, it's up to you.
My God. We just trying to get canceled straight off the bat. Straight off the rip.
So Travis Hunter goes 1. That tracks. I mean, generational prospect. There's only 2 of them in the draft. I think that he could easily go there. Everybody has the Browns taking a quarterback, and I honestly agree to a certain extent. I feel like they have to get a player right now while they can, while they're at the top of the draft. If this player ends up not working out for them, so be it. But, like, they can't deal with what they're dealing with right now. I also don't think that they're a team that anybody's going to want to go to as a veteran. Like, Matt Stafford just re-signed with the Rams because it's like the only teams that want me are the freaking Raiders.
That's probably the best point you can make. Is like, what quarterback out there that has a choice is going to choose to go to Cleveland for a season.
After they just got rid of the best pass catcher, like they're losing Miles Garrett, and bringing in Sam Darnold isn't going to keep Miles Garrett around. Sam Darnold's not going to go to Cleveland. That's just not a good point for his career ever.
I don't
That's
think anyone's wanted to go to Cleveland for a while.
for a long time.
Ever.
People just go there to collect paychecks. to
No
be honest.
disrespect, but I mean,
The only one was
yeah.
the guy that has a bunch of allegations against him.
Yeah,
The only one.
because they gave him 230 million guaranteed.
Yep.
So,
So
what
Cam
are you
Ward.
thinking here?
Cam Ward,
okay.
over Shador Sanders. Cam Ward has proven himself to be the better prospect because of his ability to move with his legs, which is super important nowadays, as well as just like his tone, how calm he is. He's very quick throwing motion, just like really a guy that everyone wants to see succeed. So I don't think that anybody doesn't expect Cam Ward to have a good future. The Browns could definitely be the one team that would fuck that up, but hopefully they don't.
I hate
All
that.
right,
for
well, that
Cam.
honestly here at 3 with the Giants puts me in kind of a difficult position because I've said it and you've heard the pundits say it out there that is Shedeur Sanders really worth the number 3 overall pick in the draft? Like most scouts have him with a second round grade, maybe a low end first round grade if they have it. But he's a quarterback. It's a premium position. Brian Dable and the guys are literally coaching for their jobs this year. They were told as much in the press by the owner, Jim Mara. Like, if this season they don't show any kind of shining light, like they're both out, coach and GM. So for me, like, Matthew Stafford would have been the one quarterback Band-Aid I think that they could have got when it was talked about they were trying to get him. That would have probably pushed them in a different direction here. There's talks right now with Aaron Rodgers. Oh, could they maybe trade for Geno Smith since the Seahawks are obviously trying to get younger?
Jameis Winston.
But to me, does any of that push you off still taking a guy here at number 3? And with Cam Ward being gone and Travis Hunter being gone, if Travis Hunter was here, that would be my pick. But because of the need, I'm going to take Shedeur Sanders. Now, like I said, I don't feel great about it just because of how high up he's going versus where I actually think he's worth going. But it's quarterback. It's premium, and Dable and Joe Shea need to make a splash or else they're looking for jobs next year. Austin, Patriots,
Let's
number 4.
Do it. Yeah, the Patriots. This is. I feel like they could sneak Ashton Genty here, but I think they're gonna build up the line with my boy Will Campbell. He's just too big of a threat not to take here.
Yeah, they've got to get that O-line better. Like you mentioned GNT, and like before I could say it, like you pivoted just because I was going to say they need to build up that O-line before they focus in on a running back, especially at number 4.
If you watched them last year, it was absolutely disgusting trying to see Drake May drop back and like that's your rookie quarterback
last year, like easily. And you have a super mobile quarterback for almost like for a little bit under half the season, and he still was getting sacked nonstop. Can't have that. Can't have that.
Can't have that. Won't have that. Armand Minbu to me would have made sense here as well. Tet McMillan, you could make the argument for, as well as I think Abdul Carter, just because of the athlete that he is.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind either of those picks for them.
But with Vrabel, like he knows you've got to build these trenches out. So
exactly, especially
Will Campbell makes a lot of sense.
How much does Ted help them if he doesn't ever have the time to get him the ball? Like,
yeah, exactly. So Will Campbell makes a lot of sense. I like that. Coach, Jags, number 5.
I think the biggest consensus pick for the Jags has been Mason Graham. And it's even though like he is a little bit undersized and like
it don't matter.
I don't think it matters. He's easily the best defensive interior player. The only player that's better than him from a defensive line standpoint is Abdul Carter. There are these question marks that are kind of coming out about his health long term and potential
That's
injury
big red
risks.
flag.
Yeah, especially I think that I hope that it doesn't do to him what Parsons' off the field issues did to him in the draft, where he dropped as far as he did, because they both are very similar type prospects. I think Mason Graham's just a little bit safer. So taking Mason Graham off the board just makes a lot of sense.
It
Love the
does,
pick.
and I'm sure Jags fans are gonna come into the chat and just hit us with like it's boring because it's the pick that you see in almost every mock draft, but when it fits, it fits.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it's just one of those, like, just don't mess it up. Like, just go turn in the card, feel good about it, and you've got a game wrecker on your side.
And they've got some defensive line there already with Josh Allen and like some of the other pieces that they've been able to acquire. So I see Mason Graham as being somebody that like comes in right away and affects the rest of the defensive line play in a positive way, which is everything that they need right now. They can't let people keep scoring as much as they are on them because their offense will never keep up.
I agree. So, Raiders, number 6, I've got for you here. Now, both the top 2 quarterbacks are gone. I think this is just a little high for my guy, Jackson Dart, so we're not going that route. I want to pull the Ashton GNT card, but to me, I feel like they need more than what they could get at running back.
And even though they have a good offensive line, like there's so many running backs in this draft. Like, why would you take one this early?
So many in this draft. There's always some available in free agency. So I mean, yeah, going a running back this high for a team like the Raiders, they don't have that luxury. Jahdae Barron or Will Johnson, you could make the argument for because they need desperate help at DB. However, I'm going Tet McMillan, because I think regardless of who they get in free agency for a quarterback, if they trade for a quarterback, draft a guy in the second round, they've already said they're releasing Minshew. Like, they're going to need somebody to throw to that's not named Jacoby Myers. And I think Tet McMillan slides right into that role very easily. Future number 1 wide receiver for you when Jacoby's contract is up. I like that pick a lot. And like I said, with no quarterbacks being on the board, just go ahead and have a target there ready for when a quarterback does arrive.
He's a dude. He's a dude you want to have on your team.
That puts Austin up with the New York Jets at number 7.
Yeah, I'm in a pickle here because we don't know what's going down with the Jets right now. A lot of the Jets are crashing, and so are the actual NFL Jets.
I mean, we
about
did
to.
just see that they released Devontae Adams, so
Yeah.
he's no longer
That's the big news I'm talking about. They really need a quarterback. I could see them trading back. Like,
Yeah,
if this
Tet
goes down in the
McMillan going
draft,
at number 6 right before them would make Jets fans start throwing stuff because
Yeah.
outside of Garrett Wilson, they have nobody.
Yeah,
no.
and it's still a bit early for Luther Burden. I
Yeah.
think Emeka Ibuka I also wouldn't want here just because he's not going to be a true number 1.
And it's stuff like this, and like where I was picking for the Raiders or even the Patriots to me at number 4. Like, I think we see a lot of trades happen in this draft because teams just don't find the value with where their positional needs lie.
Yep.
That was well said. My pick here, if I had to lock in, would be Will Johnson. Just shut down corners on both ends for the Jets. Will Johnson's a freaking dog. If you've seen any tape on him, he's absolutely flying
Him and
around,
Sauce would
ball
be
chaser,
a
like
great 1-2 punch at DB out there.
100%.
I like that. So Will Johnson,
No fly zone.
I feel like we should be thrown to the woodshed with Abdul Carter falling this low.
Yeah, it's on himself for dealing with injuries.
Coach being up here with Carolina,
That's
I feel
juicy.
like the slide might stop.
Yeah, I think he needs to go before pick 10. I think that the last pick that he would potentially go would be for the Bears. They need edge super bad. I think that the only player I would look at potentially even in the same conversation as him is Jade Barron, whose stock's been on the rise since the combine
Hmm.
because they do need defensive back help. The big thing is that right now, their offensive line definitely needs some help, but their defensive line is non-existent. After
Literally throw a dart at a defensive lineman and just hope. Like they
and
have nobody.
I'm excited for the post free agency mock draft that we're gonna do with trades, because I think that the Panthers are gonna be they have to have a lot of cap right now. I mean, they had a lot last year. They didn't use all of it. I think that they're going to be big on free agency. They might be able to build up some similar, somewhat of an offensive defensive line, but I think Abdul Carter is easily the pick.
Yeah, and I like what you said there because they focused on the O line last year, getting Bryce Young some help. And then throughout this season, they realized, like, yo, we need to be able to stop the run and, like, stop some teams. So, yeah, Abdul Carter going here, not falling past number 8, like, that just feels like it needs to happen. The Panthers are just sitting there like, holy shit, he fell to us with nothing.
Yeah, and they get him for cheap. Like they were going to have to pay the defensive end that they traded, and instead they get somebody that they're going to be able to keep 4 or 5 years on the cheap and then eventually have to pay. By then they're in a full rebuild if they haven't figured out what it is that they're doing. So I think that Abdul Carter is a great position of need for them. Saints on the clock though.
All right. Saints number 9, feeling fine. All right, we still got Ashton GNT on the board. We're not gonna pull that trigger right here just yet. Jade Barron would
Kamara.
be nice, but I feel like they have more needs elsewhere. Tyler Warren to me would be kind of a sexy pick, but they use
Hill.
Taysom Hill a little too much for my liking, and I don't feel like his value would actually be needed there. So for me, I'm shifting over to the defensive line, and call me crazy, and it might be a little high, but he's such an athletic freak of what he'll give you on the defensive interior. I'm going with Kenneth Grant, the defensive tackle out of Michigan.
Okay.
So we're going to have 2 defensive interior guys from Michigan go in the top 10 here. 3 Michigan players overall go in the top 10. Austin singing Go Blue as he wears his Tebow jersey.
Damn right.
So, yeah, I know it's a little high, and some people are, oh, that makes no sense at all. He's a game wrecker, bro. Like, dude is an absolute animal for the athleticism that he has on the interior. To me, like, we've just seen too many guys like absolutely take over a game at that position with Aaron Donald and Chris Jones for the Chiefs. Like, just go ahead and get that guy in your building. So to me, I feel like he helps build out their defense a little more. We're going Kenneth Grant.
I like the pick. At pick 10 for the Bears, we're going to have Ashton Genty. Pretty easy and simple. They're going to get a superstar in this backfield. They already just got a superstar last year with Caleb. So they're just going to keep stacking superstars. This guy just kind of fell to them. They're
Well,
not reaching on him.
And with them trading for 2 offensive linemen just within this last week,
they're fixing them needs.
they're not stressing taking an O lineman here. So Ashton GNT at number 10 for them makes a lot of sense just to help build out their offense with young pieces.
And their defense was already great last year. At this point, they have star power in every position of that they could possibly have as a skill position on offense. Quarterback, wide receiver, tight end, and then now the top running back. It's a luxury for them. And I think that especially with adding Johnson from the Lions as their head coach.
That I was just about to say that Ben Johnson coming over. Think about Ashton GNT
Compared
in
to
the
Jahmyr
David
Gibbs.
Montgomery role, and then you've got Swift in the Jahmyr Gibbs role, to where
Okay.
they're just both getting work. Like, I could absolutely see this pick and just seeing Ben Johnson just take the offense over to Chicago.
Yeah. I think that it's giving them the pieces that they need at this point. They still are going to need some interior offensive line, and there's still pieces that aren't great. They have a big draft. I mean, they have a lot of picks to be able to make those types of things happen. I think that they're going to be fine. They gets them the ability to take a player like that early.
Yep.
Snazzy.
Great pick right there. I like that pick a lot. All right, Coach.
So San Fran
49ers.
being on the clock, they let Debo Samuels go, but that's mostly because of Ricky Pearsall.
For a fifth, though?
I
Let's
know.
like, what
I
are we
mean,
doing here?
It's because
He's-
Washington's paying the contract.
It's also
Okay.
because he's dropsies is a big problem for Debo this past year.
Get outta
He's
here.
far away from the 1,800-yard season that he had, like, or 1,400.
Is a Swiss Army knife, though. Like, this guy can line up in the backfield, out wide, inside. Like,
I'm
he can line
excited
up on the line,
for
I'm
what
sure.
it's going to do for Washington, but honestly, it was hurting San Fran's game plan, trying to rely on him and then him not following through. I think that they don't need to replace him, though, not even a little bit. I think that their biggest concern right now is going to be making sure that their offensive line is still amazing. And they have the ability to take players now and not even need them to start right away and develop them. I mean, we saw what they did with a backup running back last year. I think that if they continue to build out their offensive line like they always have, that they'll be able to continue to do that forever.
Was he third string? I think it was third string running back. They were rocking with.
Yeah, technically, because Elijah
Elijah Mitchell
got hurt.
Yeah.
So, like, they were just like, all right, here we go. He's the new guy.
Pull the guy out of the stable.
Armand Membu. 6'3",
Yes,
314, young, just lots
Monster.
of availability. I think that he's easily the guy that they want right now.
He can move too. Like, that's scary as
Yeah, we
hell
saw
having
that
those
40
two
time.
dudes on both sides, like, of the end of the line.
Yeah.
So, Cowboys, I've got them on the clock here at number 12. Little rich for Amari and Hampton for me right now. I still think, there's another place in the draft that they'd be able to get one. They got plenty of picks in the draft to work with, so I feel good about that for the Cowboys. Wide receiver here, looking at Luther Burden, Emeka Ibuka would be solid for me as well. Offensive tackle, I could go that route for you, Austin, looking at Josh Simmons or Kelvin Banks Jr.
I don't mind either.
But it's hard for me to look at one of these edge guys on the board here and not just absolutely salivate at pairing them with Micah Parsons. And with the type of athlete that Micah Parsons is, I think pairing him with another freak athlete like James Pierce Jr. would absolutely be devastating for defenses. James Pierce coming out in the combine running a 4.45 40.
We knew it was
with
going to
Micah
happen.
Parsons. Now he could have done better in the 3-cone drill, and his broad jump wasn't as great as you would expect. To me, there was something a little off where his 40 time you expect to see a little more explosion in those other drills. But man, the guy's just got a motor. And like I said, you pair him with Micah Parsons, that's a hell of a 1-2 punch coming off the edge. I almost went Mike Green there.
That's who I
Almost
wanted.
went Mike Green.
That's who I want. I
But
think he's
know
a better
James Pierce
pairing
did it for multiple seasons in the SEC, and that's what gave me the edge with him over Mike Green.
I respect it. I definitely would have pulled the trigger on Mike Green there.
I know that's what you wanted. I could see it in your eyes.
I would love that pick.
I think that Mike Green isn't as raw of a prospect as James Pierce. I think that Micah Parsons specifically is going to be able to help coach up James Pierce. Because whenever we did our breakdown on him, we all thought the same thing. He's got so much speed that sometimes he just over pursues, and he has these little things, but the athlete, the player itself, all the things you can't coach, he's got every one of them. So if you can coach the guy up, he could potentially be just as good as Micah Parsons, which is terrifying because Micah Parsons is in on every single play.
Yeah, like you just have one guy coming off each side. Like, how do you game plan for that? Like, it's gonna be insane. So, Austin, number 13, you've got the Fins. What are you
Fins
doing
up,
for
baby.
us?
Fins up.
Don't fuck
You
this
know,
up.
the Fins need a lot of help. So we're going to start with the back end, the very, very back end. We're going to go safety, Malachi Starks out of Georgia. All right. Y'all need an animal back there to stop the air raid that's going on. You're getting bombs dropped on you left and right.
I'm not mad at the pick because I love the player. So we're gonna
I
put
know
him
you
on
love
my
them
board and
Georgia
we're gonna
boys.
take him because that's what you said. So we're locking that in.
Remember how I
But-
just said don't fuck this up?
So many
What?
so many Dolphins fans are just begging for that O line to be built.
We need to take
And
3
you've got-
offensive linemen in the first 3 rounds. That's all we need.
And you've got Josh Simmons and Kelvin Banks Jr. just sitting here chilling, looking at you right now, saying, "Hey, bro, what's up, man?"
Hey, crazy
So,
things
like
go
I
down
said,
in the
I
draft.
don't hate it. I personally, if you were going DB, I would have preferred Jahdae Barron, but I don't hate it.
I feel you.
This would be a pick to where on draft day, if it happened as a Dolphins fan, I just kind of would. And then I'd sit there for like the next
Well-
3 hours looking at highlights, just trying to talk myself into it as to why he's going to be a franchise cornerstone and
Yeah. It
just
happens.
everything that we've
I mean,
ever
Just
that's
going
what
to
you
bed,
need
going
at
to
pick
bed watching
13,
highlight tapes.
Getting a safety at pick 13, like he needs to be a
But I do love the versatility he brings.
Yeah.
Like you can put him anywhere on your defense, jack of all trades for you. So like I love that aspect to his game. But moving on, Indianapolis Colts coach.
So I know a lot of people have the Colts taking Tyler Warren here, but they really, they've set their team up to run the football. Tyler Warren's going to be a great blocking tight end, but with a guy like Mike Green still being on the board, I think that what he
Mike
gives you
Green.
from an edge perspective, one of their biggest issues is defense. Like their offense wasn't able to get things rolling, but they have a bunch of young players that are going to get the chance to figure it out. I think that they need to build up in the trenches, and the defensive line is easily their biggest need from a trenches perspective. So I think Mike Green he's a big-bodied, very physical, very powerful kind of guy. I think that he's going to help out the Colts to win games at this point in the draft. Later in the draft, there's plenty of tight ends. I think Mason Smith to them in the second or third round would be amazing. I would love to see that because he also likes to block. He's a great pass catcher. He's not as versatile as Tyler Warren is. He's a little bit more kind of like I do what I do instead of I do everything. The only reason that you'd maybe take Tyler Warren is if you're like, hey, maybe we need someone to throw the football. Tyler Warren can do that too.
Yeah, he might.
Emergency QB. I mean, they took Latu last year in the first round. So, I mean, coming back with Mike Green this year would be spicy going edge in back-to-back drafts. But, man, him and Latu together off the edge, like, basically just rinse and repeat what I said about James Pierce Jr. and Micah Parsons. Like, just you're getting hella athletes coming off the edge for you. So I wouldn't be mad at it as a Colts fan. Hit us up in the comments down below. Let us know how you feel. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button too. Do it for us.
It's
All
all
right.
about the shoe.
All
Almost
about the
halfway.
shoe. All about you. And Atlanta Falcons, number 15. They've got a, bevy
Smorgasbord.
of needs here, as you would
like that,
say.
Austin.
Little smorgasbord, like wide receiver, edge, linebacker, corner. And so what I'm doing is I'm looking at two of those positions, and I'm seeing a player here that can knock out two positions just with one pick. And I'm going to take Jihad Campbell
Yes,
from
sir.
Alabama to go to the Falcons here. The guy, linebacker primarily, but he gives you that edge ability to where I think as with Raheem Morris, the way he'd be able to use him with his defense, it's just about getting pressure on the quarterback. And Jihad Campbell is just an absolute stud of a linebacker. He's the type of, athlete of a linebacker that you want in today's NFL. I feel good about it. We're rolling on. Pick number 16, Austin.
Talking about that boy Campbell, his legs are a little bit on the smaller side, but man, he is quick and he'll get to the ball and smash you. Yeah, so the Cardinals are on the clock. They needed some guard help, they need some tackle help, and D-line help. With that being said, give me my boy Josh Simmons out of the Ohio State. Very, very versatile tackle. He's going to block every edge that comes at him. He's got great handwork, great footwork, just a very solid overall tackle.
Yeah, he was one
Josh
that
Simmons.
season cut a little short by injuries, but he's with what he can be projected to be if he stays healthy. He's absolutely a franchise tackle for you. It's just a matter of staying healthy for him. And I love at this point in the mock drafts too, looking at the board and seeing the guys that are falling down here that I feel like should maybe are worthy of going a little higher. It's just the way the board falls in this for us, and I'm loving what I'm seeing right now, boys. We're doing a solid job. Coach, you've got the Bengals at number 17.
Don't fuck it up.
I mean, they definitely need wide receiver, right?
A
I
little bit of
can't
wide
believe
receiver,
that
a little bit of line.
they got T. Higgins on a second franchise tag. Like,
I believe it.
I mean,
They got to keep the core, man.
I guess,
Got to
but
keep
pay
the boys
man.
together.
Then pay him. Like, you gave
Well-
all this money to Joe. They're about to give all this money to Chase. I don't know. Just pay the man. Pay
I
that
thought
man
Joe
his
was going to take a
monies.
little bit of a cut so that
Hey,
he could get his bag.
monies.
Well, he didn't, and
Hey,
now they
he needs
franchise
to.
tagged him.
His monies.
Yeah. So I think that best offensive lineman still on the board is Kelvin Banks Jr. I know that they need more guard work, but they kind of need everything. Their offensive line is so garbage. I think the other position to go would be defensive line, maybe Donovan Ezraku. But I think that
So hear me out. With wide receiver being a need and the O-line being a need, I think the best overall pick for them with him falling here is Tyler Warren out of Penn State. Like, it's just an animal. Like, to pair him up with that trio.
I don't think they feature the tight end enough. Like Jazicki, had a few games last season where fantasy wise he kind of blew up for you, but they use a lot of role players and 3 different tight ends. And I believe I know they took Eric All last year. And I want to say they maybe even came back and took a second tight end.
They took Moss as well. They have Moss on the roster.
yeah.
Randy Moss's son.
Yeah, I think maybe he just made practice squad. So
That is.
Tyler Warren to me, for in this spot, I would love it from a standpoint, but with how they like Jazicki. So you said Kelvin Banks here?
Yeah, I think Kelvin Banks is the way I want to go. I know that a lot of people have them taking defense just because they have so many needs on defense. They really don't have one. I just think that you still have to shore up that franchise player in Joe Burrow, and a player like Kelvin Banks is versatile. I know that he plays a majority left tackle. It's just you need something to be able to help him, and I think that that's the thing that helps your offense the most. You don't need skill position players as much as you need to be able to just protect Joey B.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
Joey
I think
B.
Tyler could have protected him as well, staying in the cut. But I feel you.
So I've got Seattle on the board here at 18, and this tells me that PFF has not completely updated their board yet because
Not at
wide
all.
receivers should be listed as a need. We mentioned Tyler Lockett's getting released, DK's asking for a trade, he's wanting out. they've got some edge and linebacker needs, and that's where Donovan Ezeraku's kind of screaming at me.
They've got a player that used to play with
But
Jackson
and
Smith-Njigba.
that's exactly where I'm looking, and that's exactly where I'm going. I'm going to Emeka Ibuka here. We're gonna get Jackson Smith's teammate from the Ohio
Good
State,
pairing
and
up.
we're bringing him to Seattle. He's gonna need the help there now, obviously. So they worked out perfectly well at Ohio State. I don't see why they can't do it at the next level. It's just, to me, that makes a lot of sense.
And they're both very similar type
And then
of
maybe
players.
come back in the second round and take Will Howard.
They're both very similar types of wide receivers too. So a lot of the ways that JSN was having success last year, I think Emeka can step in and have. If they don't end up trading DK, if they are just like, we don't care what you want, we're gonna keep you, then Emeka Ibuka would be such a great slot in this offense. Like, Lockett is 10 years in the league and is obviously slowing down. I think Emeka Ibuka would be somebody that is going to be able to show off in that slot position with everyone being drawn to the outside with DK and JSN.
Yep. And I think this the defensive line, front seven overall, that class is fairly deep enough to where I feel good about them coming back in the later rounds to pick up the other positions. They're just going to need some way to generate an offense. And to me, that pick just makes a lot of sense. Austin on the board for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, number 19.
The Bucks at 19 are gonna select. This is very easy selection here. Jahdae Barron,
I was gonna
cornerback
say,
out of
we've been
Texas.
sleeping on him.
Thank you.
Like
yeah,
it just falls
I've
to
been
the
looking
Bucks
for
here.
a fit.
It's
been
a
looking
perfect
for a
fit for
fit.
them. I mean, you want to talk about a team that needs help in the secondary? That's the Bucks. They need it so
Yeah.
bad.
I like that pick a lot. That's one to where not much needs to be said. Just turn the card in and go home.
Mm-hmm. You can't
Like
argue it.
that they need so much help back there. And all their needs here listed are defense. And I agree. Like maybe a wide receiver somewhere in the draft, but
If they want to
Jahdae
get
Barron,
spicy,
just
they could trade up
turn
for
the
Will
card in.
Johnson.
Yeah, I can't wait
I'll
to
let him
do
to
our
trade at
mock
13.
draft with trades. I can't wait to do the mock draft with
I
trades.
guess he
So,
went before that.
Coach,
Yeah.
Denver on the board, number 20. Who you got him?
I think Tyler Warren. I think we might have mocked this one other time. I just think
Just
that
makes so much
It's a
sense
good
for
fit.
Sean Payton.
Sean
Such a
Payton,
good fit.
versatile piece, Swiss Army knife of a player. I think it just it's a perfect fit. He's gonna take Tyler Warren and utilize every aspect of what he's gonna give you as a player. Luther Burden would be semi interesting just because of how athletic he is, and he's gonna give you a lot. I mean, you could use him from the backfield. What they've been doing with Taysom Hill was because of Sean Payton. So Luther Burden could fill a lot of that role. But Tyler Warren is the Swiss Army knife of this draft. He does everything you need him to do.
I don't think he even falls this far because of how prolific of an athlete he is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Plus,
I
he's
think
got the
this
flow.
is like his
He's got
stopping
everything.
point. Chargers. Chargers at 22 would be, I think, as far as he falls in the first round.
Yeah.
But I like that pick a lot too. So Steelers on the board, number 21. And to me, Steelers fans last year, you came in our chat, you yelled at us so much for mocking wide receivers really early. This
We're
year,
going to do it again.
I'm going to tell you to eat my shorts because we're going to take Luther Burden here.
It's such a perfect fit.
Pairing him with George Pickens, to me,
Two gangsters.
how
out there.
they would complement each other makes way too much sense for an athlete like Luther Burden to be there for you at this position for 21. I think you're just playing with house money at this point. You don't know who your quarterback's going to be, but I don't think it's really going to matter if they come in and they have George Pickens and Luther Burden and Pat Fryermuth as their targets out there. And we've also seen what Jaylen Warren's able to do for you out of the backfield. I love that pick. Like I said, Steelers fans, you yell at me all you want. We don't take wide receivers early. Shut up. This pick makes too much sense. It's going to be awesome for you. You're welcome.
No, that's an awesome pick. I love the fit there, like for him.
The only reason I'm going to massively disagree with you is because if they didn't want Brian Thomas Jr., there's no way they want Luther Burden.
They had more of a need of offensive line last season.
I hear that. Brian Thomas Jr. was my top wide receiver that wasn't like one of the god tier top guys that you can only get with like a top 6 pick. And they
We
didn't
live
want
in a
him.
different world today than we did yesterday.
That's true.
Coach.
Yeah.
I'm gonna click it, Luther Burden, but I
The
disagree.
receivers are coming at a premium in this draft.
Only
Like I
because
said,
they didn't
Steeler
take Brian
fans are going
Thomas.
to yell at me. Yeah,
I know
Steelers
they are.
fans are going to yell at
They
me.
don't
That's
do
fine.
that. They don't do
you
that.
yell
Was
at
it
me all you want.
2006 was
Like
the
I
last
said,
time they
shut
drafted
up.
a receiver in the first round?
First round, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
It's been a while.
Streaks got to end at all points. Austin,
Well,
Chargers.
the
number
Chargers
22.
at 22, I have two guys that I can't not draft here, and it's between Omarion Hampton, running back for North Carolina, and Colson Loveland, tight end for Michigan. With the pairing of, Michigan back to the Chargers, head coach, it's tough to pass up this pick with Loveland. I love his game style. They need help at tight end, like so bad, especially with Herbert. Like he needs that check down guy to throw to, and Loveland can be that guy. But it's so hard for me to pass up on Hampton. So, what do you guys? Who would you pick here? Because I am literally so torn.
Honestly, with who's on the board, I think I personally lean Matthew Golden. Like to pair. Him
I
with
don't
Ladd
hate
McConkey.
that. I don't hate that pick at all. Like
Because
Matthew
I haven't
Golden's
seen
my
what I
next
wanted
receiver
to out
off
of
the
Quentin
board. Like
Johnston. They've still got to build out that wide receiver room. I like what you're saying about Colson Loveland, and between the two with Hampton and Loveland, I would lean Hampton, just because I think a running back of Hampton
it's just more premium.
like.
I mean,
Well,
they
not
did.
even, but with his ability,
Yeah.
like so for me, like that's one to where if I'm picking between the two, like who's going to be more effective for me on a week to week basis,
Amari and Hampton.
I'm going Hampton.
I honestly,
But
I
my
like
pick here,
LT,
like I said,
bro.
that my pick would be Matthew Golden. That's just because I love the player, and I think him and Ladd McConkey would just be awesome on that offense.
I feel that. That's why they're in a real tough spot here.
I still
If-
feel like they don't want to have a pass heavy offense. They
wanna run that rock.
run the ball, and then
Yeah.
have the pass as a backup. So Amarian
Yeah.
makes the most sense.
Amarian
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense.
We'll go Omarion Hampton for the Chargers. He's literally reminds me a lot of LT, LaDaine Lee Thomason.
All right, Coach, you're picking for Sarah's Packers here. Don't screw it up.
I think that going DB would make a lot of sense because there's not any DBs that I really love.
And I believe
for
Jair
the-
Alexander's on the trade block.
That's why I'm saying DB, but like Trey Amos, Xavier Watts are like the next ones on the board. I'm not loving that. I think that going best player available is something that the Packers would do. They would potentially trade back here and end up getting a DB. Would make a lot of sense, but I think Donovan, Ezruka, or Derek Harmon would make some sense.
Donovan for sure. I
Yeah, that's
could
what I'm
see
gonna
that
go.
going there.
Yeah, I like Ezraku in this spot. To me, he just screams like Packers linebacker,
Mm-hmm.
like Boston College. Like he's used to playing in that type of weather
Yes.
because he just screams like Packers linebacker.
And then Austin-
Ezraku.
Before we get too far ahead, 2006 Antonio Holmes from Ohio State was the 25th overall pick. That was the last time
Yeah.
the Steelers
Yeah.
drafted a wide receiver. in the
Yeah,
first
see,
round.
so
I
Streaks.
said 2006.
Yeah, so Streaks got to
Man,
end every
too
now
long.
and then. That's all. That's it. Just 19 years. Not a bad deal.
Minnesota looking for a running
Minnesota
back.
on the clock at number 24. They could maybe use a running back, defensive interior with Derek Harmon and Darius Alexander sitting here for them. Like you said, DB right now is starting to kind of thin out a little bit till we get to the next round with Trey Amos being the highest rated corner. And I'm not really seeing any corners on the board that are screaming at me. I really like Siobhan Revelle from East Carolina, but again, first round right now at 24, not necessarily sold on it. I think what I'm going to lean here, and this is for the matter of if they end up, where'd he go? With if they roll with JJ McCarthy or having Sam Darnold, I'm looking at their interior offensive line and how they're going to handle that. And so because of that, I'm taking Tyler Booker, the guard out of Alabama. I think he's just way too athletic to pass up and let him get out of the first round. They have the need at guard. He can play either side for them. And overall, I think it just helps solidify their offense even more. And I make this pick in mind with JJ McCarthy as the quarterback next year. So
Yes,
we need to
sir.
protect him.
Gave up 0 sacks. Has only given up 2 sacks in his entire career.
Yeah, he's an animal. Like, so I feel good about it. It's not a sexy pick because it's interior O line, but Zach Martin had a Hall of Fame career as an interior O lineman for the Cowboys. So you could not like it. I like it a lot. Austin, you're on the clock here at 25.
So yeah, this is another super easy pick. We got a Texas boy coming back home to Texans, in Matthew Golden, receiver for the Texas Longhorns.
I like
Gonna
that
play
a
for
lot.
Houston. With the Tank Dell going down, you need a speedy guy like Matthew Golden that can extend the field and get it done.
Tank
Yeah,
Dell, Nico
he's an
Collins, and
exciting
Matthew
player.
Golden is a hell of a wide receiver room.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
when
they're
Tank
like
comes back.
50-50 on Stephon Diggs coming back, which is probably not going to happen. Tank
Yeah.
Dell just went through another surgery, I think yesterday or today, for his knee.
Damn.
So like, there's some
Yeah,
need.
he'll be out like the first good portion of the season. So
Yep.
they've got to get somebody in there. And I like that pick a lot. Keep him in Texas.
Love doing picks like that.
Coach, Rams, 26.
The Rams.
Between Josh Connerly and Gray Zabel, both are very good prospects on the offensive line. But you have to ask yourself that you really only have another year or two before like you're gonna lose Matthew Stafford. And like picking a quarterback right now wouldn't make a lot of sense. They could take a guy like Jackson Dart, or like a more developmental prospect in the next couple rounds. I honestly think my Austin's boy Colston Loveland would make a lot of sense.
Good fit here.
I think that with the size that he has, the athleticism that he shows, the intelligence that he shows at the tight end position is going to be a very necessary thing. I don't think that they go wide receiver. I think Cooper Kupp takes a big discount to come and play with Matt Stafford to try to make one more run. They're both aging veterans. So, like, getting a young guy like Colston to play in a position of need, I think makes a lot of sense.
Very
I like that pick a lot.
team-oriented player, too.
Yes.
Give Stafford just another solid target there, especially, just for dump-off situations. I like that pick a lot. Baltimore Ravens, pick number 27. We're getting down to the end of it here. Subscribe!
We're getting to the nitty-gritty.
And for me, there's not a wide receiver I want to pull the trigger on here right now for him. Not necessarily a tackle like Gray Zabel would make some sense here for him, especially if Ronnie Stanley ends up leaving in the offseason. Right now, with the way their roster is constructed and with the way the board sits, I don't feel right letting Shamar Stewart or Mykel Williams get past this point right
Agreed.
here. I'm taking Shamar Stewart. I think he dominated the combine. I think he showed what you wanted to see out of a guy his size and that style of athleticism. And he's just the type of dude that the Ravens add to their defense and just keep retooling.
100%. It's a perfect fit for their system.
Yeah, so we're going Shamar Stewart there, the edge out of Texas A&M. Austin, you're on the clock for your boys, the Detroit Lions. 28.
You snag Shamar Stewart out from under me, and so that leaves me with Mykel Williams, or Landon. I think I could see the Lions grabbing Landon Jackson out of
You
Arkansas,
never know
but
what the Lions are gonna
Or
do.
Jalen Walker
exactly.
from Georgia, linebackers, a pretty decent need for them too.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that at all for him. Um, it's between one of the Georgia boys here. You can't hate it. I think I would go Mikael Williams with their need at edge with Hawkinson. Or no, not Hutchinson going down and everything. Like they just need depth there.
But even
So,
when Hutchinson comes back, pairing him with
oh
Hutchinson,
my
like I've
God.
said a couple times
Yeah,
this episode already, like you're just getting two monsters off the edge.
straight up though.
Like so, Michael Williams, edge out of Georgia, love that pick. Coach, Washington Commanders, 29.
So they definitely haven't updated this in the last couple days because having Debo, plus some of the other pieces that they have that are kind of younger pieces, means the wide receiver is not their greatest need anymore. Honestly, it was never their greatest need. If we're being real, they already have Scary Terry, who's a top 10 talent-wise wide receiver in the NFL. Has been since he came in the league. Basically, he's just always been held back by his quarterback. I think edge is a position that makes a lot of sense. Landon Jackson um, is a freaking monster of a human being. I think that some of these defensive interior guys could potentially do it as well. Wow, Nick Scourton's still there.
That's who I've had my eye on for
Yeah,
them.
yeah, I like him a
Like
lot.
a big monster. He moves so fast. Like
He was really
that's
high
an
on all
exciting
of our
player.
lists. Like I think maybe top four for my
Mhm.
list.
Yeah, he
If
was
not,
4 for me.
yeah, I think I'm gonna
4 or
go
5.
Nick. I can't believe he's still there. I mean, I get some of the players that we've picked are amazing for edge, but yeah, this guy was he was something special. And with Dan Quinn, he's gonna be able to utilize a piece like that right away, day one.
He's a scary player, bro.
Yeah, that love that pick. I like what we're doing here. This, a lot of people might not agree with some of these picks, but I like what we got cooking. Buffalo Bills on the clock at pick number 30. Needs listed as wide receiver, defensive interior, linebacker, and corner. As far as what they need and what the board is showing, they really kind of have their pick of the litter. Derek Harmon, Darius Alexander, Walter Nolan, Jalen Walker, to me, all would make sense. I think for me, what I want to do for the Bills is I'm gonna take Riley Leonard, the quarterback out of Notre Dame. No, I'm just playing. We're not gonna do that to you, Bills fans. Chill out. No, I'm gonna take Walter Nolan, the defensive interior player out of Ole Miss. I think he's another one like I mentioned back before with oh my everything's freezing on me, guys. Oh, I'm so sorry. But what I mentioned back before with Kenneth Grant, like he's too much of a game wrecker to let him go past you when you have a need at that position. And I think pairing him with Ed Oliver on the defensive interior, I don't feel the need at linebacker is strong enough for them to take Jalen Walker here instead. So, like, I just like Walter Nolan over the other two defensive interior guys that are listed. I'm taking Walter Nolan here. I feel good about it. Austin, you've got the Chiefs Super Bowl runner up 31.
Yeah, they shit the bed in the Super Bowl. It was disgusting. They need O line help so bad, is what I saw from that game. Um, it doesn't seem like anything is going to help stop them against that D line of the Eagles or anybody. But I'm torn between Gray Zabo and Josh Cornely Jr. out of Oregon. I'm definitely wanting a tackle for the Chiefs here. You guys have a one that you like better than the other that you could like sell me on? Because I would pick Josh Cornely here. I just think he's a beast of a player.
Yeah, Connerly's really solid. Like I like what he brings to the table. I feel like Gray is a little nastier and what I want to see out of my O lineman. And coming from North Dakota State, I just feel like he fits Kansas City a lot as far as like matching geographically in some
Yeah.
senses. So to me, between the two, I would say I think Connerly might have the bigger ceiling, but I think Gray would be more effective coming out starting with, just because of his aggressive nature and play style.
Yeah.
But that's just my preference. If you want
Yeah, we'll go-
Connerly, you take Connerly.
No, we'll go with Gray Zabel, tackle for North Dakota State for the
North
Chiefs.
Dakota State, first round draft pick. All right,
We-
Coach, finish us out with pick number 32, the Super Bowl champion Eagles.
I mean, this is easy, right?
Fly. I mean, bro, they don't
There's
even
a-
need to pick.
There's
It
a
is for me.
Georgia. There's a Georgia,
Georgia
player
defensive player on the board.
right now. He's
Linebacker,
versatile.
too.
He plays defensive line, slot, corner, and in the box. He can go anywhere on the field that you need him to. He's 6'2", 245, so he's not too big where he's not going to be fast. I mean, boom, easy peasy. Jalen
Bang.
Walker, like.
That's,
That's it. That's
I
it.
thought I
That's
had
exactly
easy
what
picks
they're
in
gonna
the
do,
draft.
guys. I'm
That's-
telling
that's
you,
it.
if there was any pick that was like this is going to happen, they're gonna pick that defensive player from Georgia in the last pick of the draft if he's there.
That honestly, that'd be a pick. I think they would make it and just start laughing themselves.
Yeah,
And just
like
be
you guys did
"Really?
it again, really?
Like we did it again. Like you guys give us another Georgia player. Guys, if you stayed here with us the whole time, we can't tell you how much we appreciate you. Your support means everything to us. TulsiRoseTea.com is the sponsor. Please hit that subscribe button down below. Every 500 subscribers, we're giving away a free jersey to one of you lucky viewers. Then you're going to hit that notification button up in the corner of the little bell. It'll tell you whenever our episodes drop. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys. Peace out.
Peace out.